Well, it's been a long time since I've done a video, maybe a couple weeks. And I want to start, I'm in a great mood. You can always tell when I'm in a great mood. I'm wearing bright colors. And I don't know if you could tell, but this is kind of a bright color. Who says men can't wear pink, right? I know for some people, the way I dress, it's a big turnoff. It comes across as stuffy, or we also have an image of people who dress like this as they're very arrogant and all of that stuff. And some of that's true. That's part of why I wanted to do this video, is I wanted to discuss some things of, I struggle with arrogance. I struggle with being condescending and being rude. And it's a journey that never ends. You just keep working on it. And, that's kind of why I disappeared for a couple weeks, is my profile's gotten bigger and people are getting help by what I do, and the comments and the questions, the private messages, people wanting help of, I started to get overwhelmed. And I wanted to do this because this is what happens in relationships, because in a way, we're building a relationship together. That's what's happening. We're starting to figure each other out, kind of like each other, not like each other. Certain things I say, you're like, oh, I love that. He's nice right there. And then other things, you're like, oh, I don't agree with that. And you're like, you just want to end things and throw it away. And I started to notice that I was getting really angry and really childish, feeling like you guys owed me something. And this is why relationships don't work. Because ultimately, when we're angry at somebody, we're stuck in codependence. And oh my God, there's that word. That's one of the things I've learned about what I do. And this is, I have to talk about some stuff, and I hope I do it right. Here's what I can say. I will do it the best I can for where I am today. I'm sure I will look back on this video a day, a week, a month from now, and I'll be in a different place and go, ooh, I would have liked to have done that better. So I'm going to do this as best as I can for where I am today, which is all we can ever do. And I'm sure I'll make mistakes at it. And I hope I do. And I hope you hold me accountable, because that's the only way I can get better. That's the only way any of us get better. And as I've learned, I love seeing how imperfect I am, because it's the process of discovering that, of dropping the denial and seeing my imperfections, that allows me to have so much color in my life. And so to do that, I have to kind of talk about the separation between how I do things and other people in this field. And there are a couple of things that I do that I think separate me. And so what I'm going to try and do is talk a little bit about that, but I hope I'm going to do my best not to be judgmental or demeaning, because that's a character trait of mine. It's my insecurities, it's my brokenness, it's the things I'm still working on and healing. And what I've noticed in the personal development field, and people that try and help people with relationships, is they leave out an essential piece. That if you don't have this piece, you can never have a relationship. It's just not possible. And it's really two topics. It's codependence and love addiction and love avoidance. And so what I've noticed is the speakers or personal development, Tony Robbins, Byron Katie, Eckhart Tolle, Jeff Brown, I'm leaving out so many great people. Who else? Name them. All the people we love, that we all learn tremendous stuff from. What I've noticed is a gap in their process. Very few of them ever talk about codependence. They never bring it up. And you'll see this a lot with relationship coaches. Sorry, relationship coaches. I'm going to have to dig into this and hopefully do it from a kind and loving place, not a demeaning place. But the coaching that comes from dating and relationship people, what they teach you is actually codependence and love addiction. That's why it doesn't work. Because they don't have that basic knowledge. And what separates me is I have a breadth of knowledge with a lot of depth. Like Eckhart Tolle, Byron Katie, Tony Robbins, they have expertise in certain areas where they're gifted, like Tony's gifted at NLP and some other things, but he doesn't ever deal with codependence or love addiction. Platforms like, PSI, or what's the other one? Landmark, where they try and get you to change your story. They're leaving out the essentials of life. And so while those methods are very helpful, I'm not saying don't do them. They're all part of the process. But it's like a puzzle. Think of it this way. You ever make a puzzle? How do we build a puzzle? We do the edges first, right? Now, why do we do the edges? Because it's easy, right? And it gives us a sense of accomplishment. And so what happens is people build the puzzle and they get the outer frame, and then the work is in the middle. And it's like, I got to keep trying different pieces, and it wears us out. It's like we start to feel a little imperfect. It doesn't go as smooth and as quickly and as easily. And so that puzzle sits there for a long time, and we sit down every once in a while, add a little piece here or there, but we stay away from the middle. We love to build the outside. And that's what I've discovered is, Jesse Elder's another one. They're great at the border. They give you amazing skills and tools to help you build the border. What they're lacking is the internal piece. And that means you have to confront people on their denial. You have to confront people on their codependence, on their love addiction and love avoidance. What people don't realize is, like I say those words and I know people are like, oh, don't call me that. Don't call me an addict. Don't call me, that makes me bad. And there's this immediate defensiveness that comes up, and I can totally relate. And it's like what happened to me, why I shut down, is because I fell back into that of getting sucked in to anger. And I know, because of what you learn from codependence, from what you learn about love addiction and love avoidance, is it permeates everything. Business, family relationships, dating relationships, friendships, all of it. If you don't have that basic understanding and skill set, you can't have relationship, because the relationship dynamics we've been taught are pure toxicity. Everything we see on movies and films and radio, the songs we love. And look, I call them chick tunes. My whole library is filled with sad, morose, broken-hearted. Like, I love chick films. I love to cry. I love all that stuff. I love the broken heart and the reconciliation, and oh my God, they know exactly what I'm thinking and feeling, and it's all fantasy. That's not how true relationship works, yet that's what we're all looking for. And so we have to know the middle of the puzzle. And most people in this field stay away from that. Now, the problem is that because of my own codependence, my own love addiction and love avoidance, I struggle with both, is when I'm in those places, my anger comes out. Because remember, anger is codependence. It's a victim place of, I need you to fill a need for me. I need you to understand me. And when I can't get you to understand me, now I'm codependent on you. I need you to validate me. And so that's what was happening to me, is I was getting myself in that place and blaming, the world of, man, I'm doing so much for other people and feeling left out. Well, look, nobody owes me anything. It's my job to meet my own needs. And so I had to go work on me and deal with my anger. And how, if you look through, like after watching this video, flip through my videos over the last month or two, you'll see there are elements of anger, or where I am being judgmental and I'm putting down other people. And I talked about how my heart isn't that, but I couldn't get there. Emotionally, I couldn't communicate from my heart, from my color, because I had gotten away from some codependence work. And so part of what triggered this post is, Jesse Elder, I love you. You're doing great things. But he's selling this course on Hater Aid or something, how to deal with haters on social media. And all of his responses are, what he's teaching people to do is how to belittle them, how to come over top of them. When they say something disparaging, how to embarrass them. Well, all that's showing is his own self-hatred. And again, this is where I'm trying to say this as loving as I can. I'm trying to point out truth, but not disparage him. But See, when people hate us, when they, like, you'll see in my comments, you can see at times I throw haters stuff. I act codependently as well. But when I'm in me, when I'm not in my codependence, I love the criticism. Or when somebody, really when they call me names or say I'm a charlatan or whatever, there's truth in it. Look, I'm admitting, I've been off for a little bit. Well, that makes me a fraud, a charlatan. They're right. But if we can't own that, and that's what Jesse Elder is advocating, is he's not going to own his side of the street. Instead, he's going to use a psychological manipulation to make the other person feel less than. Well, gee, I wonder why the world is in complete disarray. Politically, socially, racism, COVID, politics, everybody's at each other's throats. Well, that's codependence. It's something called negative control, and I don't want to make this into an instructional video. I've talked about a lot of those videos, a lot of those dynamics. And if you're unfamiliar with them, you can look through my videos, or I always suggest a couple books. Pia Mellody is the expert, not Melody Beattie. Sorry if you've read Melody Beattie's stuff. She doesn't talk about codependence. She talks about an alcoholic. You haven't learned about codependence. Pia Mellody is who you need to read. Facing Codependence, Intimacy Factor, and Love Addiction. Those 3 books, they should be required reading. And so what I struggle with is, how do I communicate this deeper information in a way that doesn't disparage other people? And because of my own codependence and my own struggles in life, a lot of times I don't do it effectively. I belittle them back. And all that is exposing is my own unhealed pain. And so, a lot of the methods out there are just teaching how to manipulate each other's pain, not heal it. And that's what my expertise is how to heal it, because ultimately, that's the solution. Now, that's going to make a lot of us uncomfortable because, let's face it, none of us like to hear that we're imperfect. Now, why? Well, because we haven't been shown that actually that's where the peace is. Like, when you can see how imperfect you are, when you can own it, it's pure joy. But we really defend it. And I'm as guilty as anybody on that. And so you can see it a lot. I do it a lot. And so if you see it in this video, please call me out on it. Let's have a discussion, because the only way I heal from it is to be shown it. Now, one of the things I'm very good at is, because I live in the middle of the puzzle, I usually know it. But sometimes I miss it. And that's why I invite the criticism, the hate, or whatever. And so what I'm encouraging from everybody is, if you truly want love, if you want to end racism, if you want to end the political debate, if you want to fix COVID and all of these health conditions, because if you do the research, and this will upset some people, illness and disease is caused by emotional dysregulation. The science is overwhelming, and people will argue with me about the science. And I had someone recently say, you need to stay away from that. You don't know the science. And then I sent them, like, in text message on Instagram, or I can't remember which platform, but like this long, study after study, proving everything I'm saying. But the denial mechanism, because of codependence, they wouldn't even look at it. Well, God bless them. That just means they're in pain. And I know pain. Man, do I know pain. And I've been in pain for a couple weeks. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. See, I've learned to love it, because the only way through it is to face it. And so I've learned the expertise on how to face it in a way, at least to this point. I haven't seen anyone else in this field show how to do it, the complete process. Each one of those people, they're the border. They give you pieces. And like, I even in my book, I'm like, you need to read these people, because they're all part of the process. Like, I'm not the God here who just, I'm the only one with an answer, even though sometimes I say that. Like, I've caught myself in videos saying that, like I'm the best ever. And, that's just my insecurity and, and all that stuff. It comes out, I can't hide it sometimes, but I'm okay with it, because for every time it comes out, it gives me a chance to reconcile it. And so what I'm advocating or encouraging you to do is do the same thing. Go become an expert in how you can't see yourself. Because ultimately, if any part of our life isn't working, it's always us. It's always a piece of ourselves we can't see. And so that's why I took a couple weeks off, didn't post anything or just stayed away from it, because I knew I was the problem. I knew I needed to go sit, and there's a process that I teach. It's in my book. I don't need to lay it all out. It's all in my videos, but I had to go live the process, because if I'm going to be this teacher, I can't teach something I'm not willing to go through. And so I'm not perfect at it. And there's an expectation, and I put this expectation on myself that I have to be perfect at it. Well, that's codependent. And that's me transferring. Now I'm expecting you to acknowledge my perfection. Well, that's just not realistic. But I'm human. And so I disappear at times, and I may do that. Well, that's a good sign. If you see me disappear, it means I'm working on me. And I can't teach you something I'm not willing to go learn and go face. So I encourage you, I invite you to go listen to and watch everybody else out there, but keep an open mind and go, maybe they're missing something in the process. Maybe Kenny has a point. Maybe I need to look at it. And usually with my stuff, it takes people about 6 months before they start to see how what I offer is so much deeper and takes you to the next level and offers things they don't offer you. But it takes time because of how the brain works, how codependent works, how denial works. It takes time to really get me. And so I ask that you be patient with me. And so when you see my imperfections and in those moments as you're investigating me, go ahead and hate on me. Like, let that anger out, because it's just your pain. It's getting you closer to understanding me. Like, let's have a dialogue about it. Let's work together, because I know this. I know this. If you give yourself time and you go become an expert in all their stuff, and then you start becoming an expert in all my stuff, you'll see the difference. And you'll see the change in your life, and you'll realize, oh my God, the answer's in the middle of the puzzle. And I do provide an answer that goes much deeper and incorporates all the edges, all of their beautiful information, but it takes it to the next step. And I hope the way I've said this comes across in the way I'm intending it. That it's not meant to put them down. It is meant to speak truth of the information that's out there, and invite you to look at all of us. When you put us all together, but you kind of, at least right now, based on what I've seen so far, where I go is it's a deeper solution, whereas there are gaps in the other processes. And when you put all that together, you have a wonderful life, and you can have the relationship you want. You can have the career you want, the finances you want. You can heal your addictions. You can overcome the tough times in your life. And so I just ask that you be patient with me because I'm in a learning process of trying, how do I accept this new role and do it from a place of love and from my true heart without my pain infecting you. Because that's what happens. My pain pops up and jumps in. And I love it when it happens because it allows me to get better. And so I just ask that you be willing to take that journey with me and with yourself, because I know this: if you choose to do it, your life will be filled with color. Now, maybe you won't dress like I do. Maybe this is just way too much. Like, you just, I can't go there. And that's okay. But whatever your color is, you'll find it. Because in my experience, I haven't had a single person who hasn't found their color that's been willing to be patient with the process that I teach. They will always find their color. No one's immune from it. It's a guarantee. So I invite you to give it a shot. And like I said, in those moments where you're not liking me too much, go ahead and let me know. It gives me a chance to deal with my pain, because when those comments come across, I go, I want to fight back. I want to do Jesse Elder's haterade. But that just lets me know, oh wow, they're really triggering something I need to face in myself. And my hope is Jesse Elder finds that in himself. Again, this isn't to disparage him, because what he's doing is wonderful work. And so many of the other people, you know, Jeff Brown and others that really, you know, get that anger. I get that anger too. The difference is I know that I'm the problem and they haven't quite figured that piece out. And I feel like I didn't say that the way I wanted to. I know what my heart is, but I'm still not finding the words to say it in the most loving way as possible. So I'm going to keep working on it. And I don't want you to stay away from them or think that they're bad. They're just like me. They're in the process. But they're still on the periphery, working the border. They aren't quite here. They don't see it yet. And that's okay. I didn't either. And there's still parts of me I don't see either. So I hope that's what you see. And as I continue to work on me, the intensity of that middle part of the puzzle, the beauty of the full picture, the better I get at that, the more I'm able to teach you how to live in that. So that's my goal, and I hope that's what comes through. So I invite you to investigate all of them. Learn everything you can from them. But please come back to my stuff too, because you'll see it. I know there have been many people who've read my book, heard my stuff, hate me, hate what I say and what I do. But eventually they come back and they're like, wow, I just wasn't ready for it. Well, I can relate to that. I can relate to that. And that's okay. It's a journey. Enjoy the journey. And I hope we take it together. So anyway, hope you're having a great day. And I hope your life is filled with color.